Welcome back, Nick Lenz. Comic Corner Classics, less known classic. This is episode number 1178 and Doubleshot number 1072. I actually have one ADW trade and one DC trade. First up is the ADW trade. This is Star Trek Year 5, Volume 2. The Wine Dark Deep. This pretty much is another 3 episodes, basically, from issues 7 to 12 of the ongoing series. A little bit better plot thread in this one. Now, the Tholian child is still here, and yeah, this is quite interesting, the fact that this story goes. Now, the first story is episode 4, is by Jason Lazy and Colin Kelly. Episode 5, The Wine Dark Deep, that's done by Jim McCowan and the other 2 writers. Yeah, they pretty much are the regular writers of the series. The artwork is mostly done by Stephen Thompson, who does episode 4, which is probably 7 and 8. 6, which is, well, I think it's 11 and 12. The artwork for episode 5 is done by Sylvia Calfino. First up, we have them taking on the Tholian web, because they had all the frickin' Tholians in this. And apparently we also get a sort of a subplot where Sulu gets a girlfriend. Yes, a female alien that looks very flat-chested, and yet Sulu sleeps with this woman. By the way, fun fact, not the first alien he's actually slept with when I read these in this time period. Yeah, one of 2 I could think. This is probably 4. Also, this is particularly quite strange for this book. This book also features appearance by a couple characters who should not be on the ship at this point. Chekhov and Ajax. Ajax is a 3-armed alien who appeared on the Star Trek animated series. And it is something that he's here. Because look, here's Chekhov. And then, for some reason, and this is never explained. By the way, this is the alien that Sulu later sleeps with. Named Abel. Yes, I think this is possibly a woman. Possibly. They don't really say the gender of this thing. It could be a woman. It kind of looks like it. Now, it's like this where Chekhov's on the bridge for some time. And then, and here's the thing. Oh yeah, and also after the Sulu starts his romance, Gary 7 shows up. Yep, Gary 7. From the episode Assignment Earth. Now, this is probably after. Now, there is a sequel book to that episode. There's a novel basically called Assignment Eternity, which follows right after the events of the episode. This could be after, I'm not sure. Now, here's the thing about Assignment Earth. Now, for what I've heard about this episode, I've watched it. It's a good episode. It's kind of weird seeing the Enterprise be treated, the regular cast be treated as guest stars in their own show. The thing with Gary 7 was he was supposed to be this episode was supposed to be a backdoor pilot to a spin-off series that Gene Roddenberry is going to do. No joke. He actually really wanted to do this. And now here's the thing. This character is part of the Star Trek canon. He has been part of the canon since that episode. So, this guy has frequently appeared in a lot of original series novels. He has appeared several times. He's even appeared in The Rise and Fall of Khan Noonien Soong, where he was definitely there throughout the entirety of his reign. And at that point, he had finally gotten old. Now, there was a book that came out not too long ago that featured Gary 7. Featured him. Now, his assistant, he actually had a beautiful assistant, which if you watch the show, the actress looks almost exactly like the actress who played Willow from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. No joke. I don't know if this woman is actually her mother or not, but when I first saw her in the original episode, because after I watched Buffy, she looked exactly like, I think it's Alicia Hansen, Angelica Hansen, I think her name is, the actress who plays Widow. And this actress, I don't. This is not her. This is clearly 30 years before the events of before Vampire Slayer even happened. This could be just a relative of hers, or the actor just happened to look exactly like her. I have no idea. Yeah, when I read this book originally was coming out, I'm like, wow, Gary 7. Sweet Jesus, Gary frickin' 7. That's a shocker, to say the least. Oh yes, definitely. Now, from what I read in the original novels, Ajax was basically in story replacing Chekhov because he went off to security school. Did he finish? It's not really stated in here. Now here's the thing. This book is set during the last year of the Enterprise. Now, there is a novel. I think it also is set during the final year. It's a couple different stories with the book. It's focused on Kirk and Sulu. Sulu basically starts a relationship with a Andorian. Yes. So, just like Kirk, Sulu's a ladies' man. Despite the fact that the woman who becomes mother of his child is in fact fully human. Yes, no joke. Becomes human. Okay, where is he? I know he's here. Let's see when they show the. Here he is. Here he is. This is I believe his name is Ajax. Yeah, that's him sitting at Sulu's console. Now, this is quite strange. This could be after Sulu got back from security school. If that's the case, what the heck is he doing here? It's particularly quite strange. Yeah. Now, there was a behind-the-scenes reason why this character was created. Now, originally, the people behind the show really wanted the entire original cast to reprise their roles on the animated series. But here's the thing. They got everybody except for the actor who played Chekhov. Instead of, let's say, changing his voice, they chose to write him out the show. Yes, no joke. And the guy he was offered to write an episode for the series as compensation for not having the show. And he ended up writing what was considered to be one of the worst episodes in the entire series, The Infinite Vulcan. Yeah, he wrote that. The one where we have the giant frickin' Spock. The giant Spock clone. And the animated series is notorious for the studio who made the show for being so dirt cheap. They reused shots frequently in the show. The writing for some of the episodes were pretty good. The series is also known for being very goofy. A lot more goofier than the original series was. So, the character Ajax was meant to be a stand-in for him. Now, they also had a cat girl alien on the ship, which basically meant to be occasional stand-in for Uhura. No joke. That's seriously the whole point of the character. I don't remember the character's name, and the character, from what I remember from the novels of Star Trek, she never really appeared in novels. Ajax did. Oh yeah, he appeared in like one book. He appeared in the book where they have Chekhov go off back to Starfleet Yosa's security school to learn how to be a security officer. And that's the reason why in the movies he's basically chief of security and the chief tactical officer, even though on the show originally, I believe he was the navigator originally. And then they changed it where here they mentioned that Sulu is the helmsman, despite the fact he also mans the weapons console. No joke, that's how they wrote him on the show. And it's kind of weird how the helmsman can also control the weapons of the ship, which I thought that was strange. Why the heck would the helmsman control the weapons? Wouldn't that job go to the weapons officer? Apparently, Sulu pulled double duty. Give or take. Yeah. I love the fact that Hoon gave her Gary 7 here because, well, why not encounter him? There's at one point in the book, and I thought this was really nice the writers did this. They actually had Kirk give Sulu a performance review. And this is just around the same time Gary 7 came aboard the ship. This one felt very reasonable. Now, here's the thing. Now, Spock, basically, because what happened with the whole thing with the possible genocide stuff, he is definitely reprimanded for what he did. but he's not relieved of his duty. And I appreciate the fact it's a well-written scene. And it felt very necessary to include it. Mm-hmm. This book is really good. Give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. In case you're curious about the flapping, this little tip here, believe it or not, that's how the book came to me. Despite the fact I bought it new. I give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. I love the fact also that the Tholian, who's on board the ship, has basically got his own spacesuit. And I love seeing the spacesuits in the original series again. I thought it was so great, the fact they included this stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, here it is. Here's the spacesuits. Yes, these are the same spacesuits that, believe it or not, actually appeared in a couple episodes. This appeared in the episode of Tholian Web. They mentioned the fire incident, which basically was the episode of Tholian Web. My only guess is the reason why the writers keep referencing that, because, in my opinion, and a lot of people agree with me on this, the Tholian Web was one of the best episodes of Season 3. 3 was a season where Rottenberry left. There was a lot of really bad episodes, but that was one of the good ones, along with Doomsday Machine, which is considered one of the best episodes of the original series. Alright, moving on to a different book. Moving over to DC, we have Batman Detective Comics, Volume 3. Greetings from Gotham! Now, this book collects issues 1006 to 1011. It's written by Peter J. Tomasi. Artwork by Christian Deuce and Kyle Holtz. Kyle Holtz is those two are the only artists on here. We also have Doug Mankey. Yeah, he draws a couple issues in here, along with James Mendez. Now, the first story is something quite interesting, though, about this. Okay, the first story is Batman teaming up with the Spectre to solve a murder. Oh, wow, that is so freaking cool. Not the first time they worked together, but it's great the fact they did. And you gotta love the first issue's cover. The bat signal on the chest of the Spectre. This is so awesome. Now, in case some of you don't know who the Spectre is, he shares something with Superman. They're both created with the same person. Jerry Siegel created both, though the artist who created him is a completely different person. He is now. They do mention about the whole thing with Jim Corrigan. Jim Corrigan was one of 3 hosts of the Spectre. Jim Corrigan was the host from his debut back in the late 1930s up until the late 90s. Long time for him to be the host. And at the end of the Osmonder run, he actually gave up being the host of the Spectre. And then Hal Jordan took over as the Spectre. He was the Spectre for several years until the Spectre abandoned him in the Green Lantern Rebirth stuff. And the Spectre remained hostless for a while until he got a new host, Crispus Allen, a character who was a creation of Ed Brubaker and Greg Rucka. In this series, Gotham Central, a series that is it's basically a series focused on the GCPD with Batman occasionally guest star, but he's not the focus of the book. And Crispus Allen was the Spectre at the time of the Flashpoint reboot in 2011. Since they brought him in believe it or not, the Spectre first showed up in the pages in the series Phantom Stranger. Yeah, Jane the Mightiest brought this character in. And he basically puts Jim Corrigan back as the Spectre. And he's still the Spectre very day. Now, the Spectre himself has had a series in the past 9 years. Gotham by Midnight. Even though it's a supernatural series, and the Spectre shows up occasionally in the book, basically you can kind of call it a Spectre series. I've read it, and I own some of the issues. It is a fantastic series. Now, Batman knowing who the Spectre is, and the fact he's worked with him, is not surprising, because he's worked with everybody. Now, as far as I can tell in this continuity, in any of the books that features Batman the Spectre, this is the first time in universe they've actually worked together before. Now, Tomasi could be referencing the fact that they have worked together pre-Flashpoint, and my guess is those adventures are in fact canon to the continuity. It's implied. But this particular story is really, really good. Fun story. The next story is a guest star appearance by the Joker. who comes here right after he quit the Legion of Doom. Causes mayhem at a theme park for a couple issues. He gets away. It was a really good thing. The last two issues in here is the offer is a tie-in to Year of the Villain, which has Lex Luthor making an offer to Mr. Freeze. Yep, Mr. Freeze. And the offer is basically to help him revive his wife, Nora Freeze. Which I think Tomasi is ignoring the new origin story that Mr. Freeze was given in Batman and #1 by Scott Snyder. Yes, I think he's ignoring that because, and this is my personal theory of why that he's ignoring it, because I'm sure even he felt as though that particular origin story saying that Nora Freeze was not his wife, it was just some woman he basically fell in with who had been there for 40 years and who had no idea who he was. Though the backstory, the new origin story, did give a reason why he wears the goggles, because apparently his eyes are the only part of his body that actually are warm. The rest of his body is basically 0 degrees. But that particular set of issues is the start of the Mr. Freeze story arc in the series, which is really good, by the way. I will be getting the trade soon. I'm gonna give this book also a 9.5 out of 10. It's damn good. Yeah, the Kyle Holtz stuff. Now, this is Kyle Holtz's artwork when he draws the Spectre. Yeah. This, of course, is really, really good. Thoroughly enjoyed. Yeah, and that's Kyle Holtz for you. I've met Kyle Holtz. Great artist. He's a great person in person. Mm-hmm. Now, the issues that are featured the Joker, that's done by Doug Mankey. I have met him. I met Mankind Land last year. Awesome person to meet. I also met Tomasi there too. Yeah, that was a con that was kind of weird for me, where like almost every single writer there who was a guy all had a hand working on Dark Knight Metal. Everybody except for Coppola and Scott Snyder. Plus, you gotta love this image, this panel right here, which I think this panel might be a clear nod to the Batman the Man Who Laughs one shot by Brubaker, which is a really good one shot, by the way. Yep. Now, the Mr. Freeze stuff that's actually done by Christian Deuce. Here's how Christian draws Batman. Really good artwork. Yep. Also, we have a story. Now, the Mr. Freeze stuff is set for the next story arc. Mainly, we have a guest appearance by Deadshot. Yep, Deadshot. Now, those of you probably thinking, Nick, isn't Deadshot a member of the Suicide Squad? And is he a Batman villain? Okay, answer 2 questions. Yes, he's a member of the Suicide Squad. And 2, yes, he is a Batman villain. He started out as a Batman villain. Not a big known Batman villain. The Suicide Squad made him a lot more famous than he was when he was period pages of Batman. He has occasionally appeared pages of Batman. The only thing that's a common with Batman is the fact that they share the same creators. Though they did add one other name to the list, at least Bill Finger's actually credited for creating Deadshot from the start, unlike with Batman, where it took until, I kid you not, it took until 2015 to finally recognize Bill Finger as a co-creator for Batman. Yeah, and now Batman's credited like Batman, created by Bob Kane, with Bill Finger. It should be and Bill Finger, not with. But that's a minor thing. Yeah, Deadshot's here to kill a bunch of billionaires. And Lucius Fox here as well. Still no mention of if this is probably for City of Bane. But I like the fact that Tomasi has a loose tie in what goes on in Justice League. Yeah. I get the reason why, because they work together on Dark Knight's Metal. So, why not? Yep. It's surprising, though. Now, here's the thing. The City of Bane storyline is a Year of the Villain tie-in. This is a tie-in. This is part of the offer stuff. Basically, Lex was making offers to a bunch of villains. And he made a couple offers, one to Darkseid, which apparently couldn't get in contact with. Yeah, this is meant just like Odyssey. He also made an offer to Lois Lane, of all people. Lois Lane, the wife of his arch nemesis. Okay, yeah. Weird stuff when it comes to Year of the Villain. I've reviewed, now in the case of Year of the Villain, I've reviewed a small chunk of the storyline for Year of the Villain. Of course, I reviewed the Scott Snyder Justice League book, especially Justice League Not Do More. I view I would say close to about 20 to 30% of the actual storyline itself. I have reviewed everything related to Year of the Villain, but I love Year of the Villain. Great event. Okay, so that's it for particular, and that's definitely it for videos today, because I don't think I'll get a chance to do videos tonight. Okay, so wait till tomorrow for my review for One Piece. Okay, see you next video. Bye.